run dry as well. The uncertainty is still a big problem for many across the country.
Ryan, some Democrats are criticizing President Trump for his Mar-a-Lago Great Gatsby-themed Halloween party on Friday. Democrats also increasingly calling on the president to get involved, more involved in shutdown talks. What do they want to see?
Well, they want negotiations around health care, Kate, and that's another big part of the problems that many Americans are dealing with. Healthcare premiums skyrocket for millions of Americans who take advantage of the Affordable Care Act if those premium subsidies are not extended. And what House Democrats and Senate Democrats want is for Republicans to come to the table and negotiate around health care, around the Affordable Care Act, around health care in general. And it's something that Republicans have been resistant to do. They argue that they have a bill on the floor that would open the government tomorrow, and then those negotiations can begin. Democrats say they don't trust Republicans to make that deal after the government opens, which is part of why we find ourselves in the situation that we're in.
Yeah, for sure. And Ryan, we can't forget tomorrow's election day, big race in Virginia where you are. What could the results mean for the shutdown?
Well, it's the first opportunity that lawmakers have to actually send a message as it relates to the shutdown. And in both where I am here in Virginia and in New Jersey, there have been real impacts to the shutdown. Obviously, millions of federal workers here in Virginia that have been affected by it. But in New Jersey, there's been transit projects that have been canceled as a result of the shutdown. If Democrats or Republicans win by significant margins, it could send a message to one party or the other that it's time to come to the negotiating table.
All right, Ryan Nobles for us. Ryan, thanks so much. The Trump administration is planning a new mission to send U.S. troops to target drug cartels in Mexico. That's according to several current and former U.S. officials familiar with that effort. The president also warning Nigeria over the weekend, saying he's considering cutting off aid to that country. He is also telling the Defense Department to, quote, prepare for possible action there.
That part of the world very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Kube joins us now. Courtney, we heard the president say there are too many Christians being killed in Nigeria. Can you give us some context? What's happening there?
Yeah, we've been looking into this and trying to figure out exactly where that claim is coming from. The reality is, yes, there are people who are being persecuted by groups like Boko Haram, by the ISIS affiliate there in Nigeria, specifically up in the northern part of the country. But the reality is the numbers include both Christians and Muslims who are being targeted by these groups, and that much of the killing there is actually indiscriminate and more about land and about control over areas than it is about the religion. Now, Nigeria is known to have blasphemy laws, and they do in their courts. Sometimes they will recognize Sharia law for some court rulings. So that has led the United States to change the designation about Nigeria and to consider them one of the countries that they are concerned about with respect to religious freedom. But as far as Christians being persecuted in the way that the president has been talking about it on social media, and as we just heard there when he was flying back on Air Force One, the statistics simply don't support that, Kate.
And let me go to Mexico. The president saying that he might send U.S. troops to Mexico. What's the latest on that?
It would be a real expansion in what we've seen as the U.S. military action against cartels, primarily out of Venezuela and out of the northern part of South America. But in this case, we are told, according to these two current and former U.S. officials, that in fact the Trump administration is in the early planning stages for sending U.S. military, primarily from Joint Special Operations Command, combined with intelligence professionals into Mexico to carry out drone strikes targeting the cartel leadership there and cartel locations there. Now, there is no imminent action on this right now, but the administration is planning this. And Kate, this would be what's known as a Title 50 operation. That means that the military who would be assigned to it would be under the command and control of the intelligence professionals who'd be there alongside them, Kate.
All right, Courtney Kube for us. Courtney, thank you. We do have some fun to talk about today. The city of Los Angeles celebrating yet another